forehead. Like, it's not short, it's not long, it's just kind of normal. Sorry. Hello. Right here. Welcome back to my channel. So this is my friend Hillary right here.
Hi.
Today we're going to be doing her makeup, and I'm going to be showing her and kind of talking her through how to do makeup on her facial features and what complements her eye color and her skin tone, face shape, and everything the most. So she had previously reached out to me and asked if I would do her makeup and kind of teach her how to do it on her facial features. And I was like, girl, yes, come on my channel. I'm sure other people have the same questions that you do. So let's just two birds with one stone. So here she is. I hope that you guys can pick up some tips and tricks in this video. She is a little bit more of a square face shape, which we talk about. So if you have a square face shape, this might help you as well. Okay.
Let's get started.
So we're gonna be creating this look right here. So let's get into the transformation. So Hillary and I have already been talking a little bit, and what she mainly would like to focus on is we wanted to go over lashes, which I already went over her a little bit as I applied my lashes, so she could get an idea of how to apply lashes to herself, because it's totally different whenever you're applying it to other people and when you're applying it on yourself. So I did want her to kind of see how I was doing it on myself, so I did kind of already go over that with her. However, one thing that she really struggles with is she wants to pick like appropriate tones in terms of blush and bronzers, and the right placement for her face shape is one thing that she really wants to focus on, and then also tones of eyeshadow, maybe even lip colors. Really just tones and placement is her main thing, which I feel like is a big struggle for pretty much everyone, because everyone has a different skin tone, different undertones, different facial features, everything like that. Like, even if you're a square face shape or an oval face shape, your shape is still going to be different from somebody else who might be a square face shape or a square oval shape or whatever it may be. So yes, you always have to tailor it to yourself a little bit. I'm just gonna remove this, but I also kind of want to tell you guys how we have prepped her skin, because whenever it comes to makeup, the skin is the most important part, and I will never stop stressing that. That will change how the makeup goes on, the longevity of the makeup, everything. And I think that whenever we get to her eyes, I'll zoom it in so you guys can see what I'm doing, but this way you can actually see me when I'm talking. So first she double cleansed. I had her cleanse with this Carez Greek yogurt cleanser just to kind of remove everything off the face. It's a very gentle cleanser, very soothing for the skin. And then going with the Dr. Dennis Gross, this is an exfoliating peel gel slash cleansing gel, so it gives you a cleanse and exfoliates. And then I've been super obsessed with this. I think I'm even gonna do a video on this, or like, cause I know I'm gonna go through this so fast. Like, I'm just planning an empties video, and I can already tell you this is gonna be in it, and I just got it. But this is the Boscia Matcha Magic Super Antioxidant Mask, and I've talked about this before. It just kind of is the perfect mask if you feel like your skin just needs a reboot, which we decided was how Skillery's
I've got skills.
How Skillery's skin was feeling. So we did that. She left it on for 20 minutes, and then she just went in with the Potency Peter Thomas Roth Serum, which this won't do much in terms of prepping her skin for makeup, but it's gonna address a lot of concerns that she has in terms of like breakouts and aging and stuff like that, because vitamin C is pretty much good for everything. It lightens, brightens, and tightens. So we did that serum, and then she was lacking a little bit in the hydration department, and if you have combo skin, hydration is your best friend because it can really calm that oil production. So we did the Fresh Rose Deep Hydration Cream, and then lastly a little bit of eye cream. This is the Volition Helix AM PM Eye Gel. So that's how we prepped her skin. So if you are a working makeup artist, I highly recommend getting really extensive into your clients' routines, because it does make the biggest difference. So for her primer today, we're gonna use the Hourglass Veil Primer. It's a mineral-based primer, and I chose it for you because I wanted, this one I feel is really great at like creating that barrier between your skin and the foundation. Like, it really adds the most longevity, and it's perfect for combo skin. Will help to control that oil production in here, but it's not going to be super drying out here. That's what the thing with a lot of mattifying products is, that they'll be too drying for like these outer portions, and sure, you can target them right here, but the more that you dry out a certain area, the more oil it wants to produce. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that primer and apply it, starting in the center of the face. This is my favorite. I just hate the sound of it. So as you can see, it does leave, depending on how much you put on, it can leave a little bit of a white cast, but it doesn't like flash back in photos or anything like that. So for her foundation today, and I will be starting with her foundation. So I did a mixture, and this is just because I didn't have the exact right color for her in both of these foundations, but I did a mixture of the Fenty Beauty in the shade 260 and the Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion in the shade 1N2 Vanille. I'm just gonna start in the center of the face because this is typically where we start to get most of our discoloration, and I'm just using a flat foundation brush. I'm gonna take the darker one from Fenty, and I'm gonna apply this guy very lightly to the outer portions of her face to kind of preserve some of that dimension. And then of course we will be applying bronzer and everything that will kind of bring some of that dimension back in as well. So whenever you're doing it to yourself on an everyday basis, don't feel like you have to use two different foundations. You could, I mean, you have a couple of options. You could either go with just the lighter one and bring it all the way up and then bring that dimension back in with the bronzer, or you could do a darker one that matches this area so it doesn't pull like ashy or anything like that, and bring that all over and then brighten it up with like a concealer or something like that. So you have a couple of options. It's just really up to what you want to do.
My skin decides to do what it wants during the summer, so I never know what to do.
It's totally normal, honestly, for you to have like those varying tones. Like I see that more often than not. More people have varying tones in their face rather than somebody like me who's just like flat all the way across. You know what I'm saying? I know that it is frustrating for some people because then they're like, well, my foundation matches me here, but it doesn't match me here, you know?
For like me, usually my face is completely darker than my neck.
Which is, again, up to you what you want to match to. I've matched it to your neck area so that we don't have to bring it all the way down. You could bring it all the way down, like do a darker shade and blend it down. You could stay with a lighter shade so that way you don't have to blend it all the way down. Typically, I'll go with a lighter shade unless somebody is substantially darker on their chest, which you're not. You get a little bit darker, but it's not substantial. Obviously, we're gonna bring a little bit of light with concealer and then a little bit of darkness with bronzer. And so that's gonna balance all of the tones all throughout your body. So just finding a good like mid-tone, I think, is the best that you can do whenever you have those varying tones. Making sure to blend it up onto the eyelid so that we get everything nice and even. I'm really just working with a very small amount of product at a time because that's the best thing that you can do. Like whenever you're wanting more of a full coverage look but you don't want it to look like heavy and cakey, work with a small amount because that way you just build it up in those areas that you want it. Just do like an overall wash of color and then go back and just kind of like, okay, we need a little bit of concealing here, a little bit of extra concealing here. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't feel like you have to, if you need more coverage in one area, don't bring it all the way over your face. Yeah, exactly. I'll bring this down your neck just a little bit. Oh, you know what? We didn't put any lip balm on you. You want some lip balm? Do you mind sharing lip balm? That's fine. Okay. Drama.
That's me.
One big thing that I have learned, especially recently, is that whenever you are concealing any dark spots, under eyes, any sort of pigmentation like that that is deeper than your skin tone, you want to work with the shade of the area that you're working in. And by that, I mean if we are concealing dark circles, we are going to do a darker color because that's going to neutralize it. And then we can brighten it up. You will get much, much more coverage that way. I see a lot of people trying to brighten up their under eyes by using lighter and lighter and lighter and fuller and fuller and fuller coverage, and it either looks cakey or it's just not covering it completely and they're doing a lighter color but they're still getting that gray cast underneath, and this is the only thing that will really help with that, is by actually taking it darker to neutralize it and then going back in and doing a little bit of something lighter if you need it. For me, I've just, like, you would never think, but this is the concealer that I use on my under eyes. It's actually darker than the foundation that I'm wearing. So I'm using the Bobbi Brown BBU palette, and I'm going in with the shade Natural Tan. I just pointed at that like you're going to be able to read it from all the way over there. I'm just going to take that on a little concealer brush. Go ahead and look straight up for me. And I'm going to start to brush that onto her inner corners. Just like I said, and you'll hear me say this 5 million times, but little bit at a time. And I really like to put it on my wrist or on the back of my hand and stuff like that, because I do find that it really helps to warm up that product. Look up for me. I'm just going to use my finger. And I started on the inner corners because this is where we get most of our darkness, and then blending it out towards the outer corners. So this type of concealer is a great like everyday concealer, or a no makeup kind of concealer, or just like a simple makeup kind of concealer, because this is going to cover everything, but you're not going to get like a light white cast or anything like that that's going to contrast with your skin tone a lot. You know what I'm saying? I think that's another thing, is that people will want to use their lighter concealer to brighten it up, but then it looks out of place because they're not wearing the rest of their makeup or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Pressing a little bit of that concealer just in any areas that we may need a little bit of additional coverage. I love these Bobbi Brown concealers. Anything from Bobbi Brown is like super hydrating, so it's really great for underneath the eyes.
Feels really good.
Right? And because Hillary and I are friends, I'm going to put this directly on her skin. Do not do this to your clients. If it is a cream product, you separate it from the rest of the creams, then you use it. You never double dip in creams. You hear me? Makeup artists, you hear me? So I'm just going to take a little bit of that concealer starting from the outer portion of the eye. Bring a little bit on the inner portion, and this one I really like. This is the Fix It concealer from Christian Dior. And then we're going to blend those to meet together using that same brush. It's so hard. I'm used to working from one side, but I don't want to block the camera. Look up for me again. So now I'm going to take a little bit of that concealer, just a smidge. We can bring it down the center of the nose if we want to, but it does add a nice little touch of light. Blend that in with my brush as well. Look straight up for me. I'm just going to make sure our eyes aren't creasing before we go in and set them. Alright, so now I'm going to take a little powder brush and a little bit of powder from Laura Mercier.
Your favorite.
Oh. That was way too... I was trying to be so gentle too. I just separated out some powder from Laura Mercier. Powders don't breed bacteria, but it's always just better safe than sorry to separate the powders if you can. If it's a pressed powder, obviously you can't. Just wipe it down with alcohol. So I'm just working that into my brush. You don't need a lot. Your brush should look like this, not covered in white. And then I'm just gonna press, look up for me again, a little bit of that powder right underneath the eyes here. So Hillary told me that she has been into the more dewy skin look recently, because who hasn't? But she does have issues with oil production in her, especially on her nose. So I am going to take a little bit of that powder and just press it around that nose area to kind of really lock that in place and give a little bit of a cushion for those oils to come up and have something to absorb into. But other than that, I'm just going to set the rest of her face with a setting spray. I'm not going to put powder all over the face. Product placement. Starbucks, sponsor us. Okay, so next I'm going to go ahead and apply her eye primer, but I'm not going to do her eyeshadow yet because I like to let the eye primer kind of sit and set a little bit rather than going directly in right after applying it, because it's a little bit too tacky upon initial application. Close your eyes for me, but I'm just going to use my ring finger to tap over that eye area, and this is just the Shadow Insurance from Too Faced. Has a little bit of pigment to it, so it will kind of help to even out the eye area a little bit. I'm going to spray her with the Beauty Amplifier setting spray from Sephora. This one is my favorite. It works for all skin types, so especially if you're combo, it's a great option because it's going to work with both types on your skin, the drier areas and the more oily areas. So I'm just going to spray this. Close your eyes for me. Okay, so now I'm just going to take a little brow comb and I'm just going to brush all of her hairs up because I'm going to do her brows while that setting spray is setting on the face, and then I'll go back in and finish the face. Whenever it comes to your brows, I do notice that we kind of it kind of dips down right here, like it kind of has a hard dip down. So I'm just going to soften that a little bit to give a nicer, like a softer shape to the brow. Okay. And whenever do you feel like you struggle with your brow application at all, or yes? Okay.
Yes.
What do you feel like is the hardest for you?
Shaping it.
Shaping it? Okay.
I feel like every time I do it, it turns out slightly different. each time.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the inner lower portion here, and I'm just going to do what I call kind of underlining the brow. Rather than following the shape that it has right now with like this hard dip right here, I'm going to kind of follow the shape that I see it wants to make. So I'm going to kind of bridge this gap right in here a little bit and connect that to the rest of the brow so it doesn't look disconnected. And I'm just using very, very light strokes, and I'm just using a dark brown pencil. This pencil is not even relevant, so I'm not even going to tell you the brand, but you could just use like dark brown or something like that from Anastasia. That's perfectly fine. And just very, very light strokes to start to get that shadow. So the reason I brush the brow hairs up is it kind of pushes everything out of the way so that I can really see the shape that I want to make. And I underline it first, and then from that underline, I'm going to pull it up into the brow. And whenever it comes to kind of figuring out your placement, you can take your pencil and kind of line it up with your nose right here. This is where we would want that brow to end, is like right in here. You can also take it right here, and like that's where we want it to arch. And then right here, that's where we want it to end. So you can use the shape that you have already in your face to kind of line up. And you can even like with your brow pencil, if you want, you can lay it down and then kind of like make a little dot. Like, okay, this is where I want it to arch. This is where I want it to end. And then literally go and connect the dots. So I'm gonna brush it up because we always want to work in the direction of the brow hairs. So they grow up in here, so we're going to pull upwards. But keep it very, very soft. Where your brows start to look harsh or blocky is right in this inner portion most of the time, because if we have a hard line right there, that's what makes them look like really hard or blocky. And then I'm going to brush the brow hairs down, and I like to kind of stop on that inner portion and map out the rest of the brow and then go back in and perfect this. So I'm just going to brush that down and follow from the highest point of the arch here. I'm going to pull it down into the tail and then start to bring it across to connect it to what we've already started to shape right in here. And then once I've gotten my outline on top, I can go in and connect it underneath. So once I've defined the inner portion here, and then I've defined the arch, underneath we're basically just connecting it. So whatever doesn't look connected or maybe looks out of place is what I'm going and filling in.
My natural brow. I like it.
You like the shape and everything?
Yeah.
Like you understand it a little bit better?
Balance.
It's all about balance. We're gonna finish off her face, and I'm gonna use the Benefit Hoola Bronzer. This is BH Cosmetics 124 brush, and I'm just gonna brush that into the natural hollows of her cheeks. Square, but like a soft square. You're like somewhere between an oval and a square. So with that, the ideal face shape is oval. Now the reason oval face shapes are ideal is because everything is appropriately balanced in an oval face shape. So that's why people say it's the ideal face shape. However, I'm a huge fan of square face shapes. Like I think that like a hard jawline, and like I love square face shapes. I don't know why, but I just do. So for you, if you wanted to, like, if I were just gonna do your makeup, I love square, so I would like enhance those features even more. But if you want to balance them, I can show you how to do either way. You can literally take your finger and feel your jaw or your cheekbone. That is like the millionth time I've done that. I'm not even kidding. I'll be talking about your cheekbone and I'll say jaw, and I've done it in my videos and everything, and I'm like, do you know your facial features? Like, goodness gracious. I'm just taking that on the tip of my brush. It's like a little tapered brush here, and I'm just gonna start to brush that right underneath the cheekbone. Whenever you're doing bronzer or contour, anything like that, you wanna start with a small amount of product at a time. Really slowly build up that product and bring it up onto the temple as well. So if you wanted to balance it, then what you would want to do is kind of cut down the jawline right here, because that will kind of narrow it a little bit more, which will give you more of that oval face shape. You have beautiful cheekbones, by the way. Thank you. You're like, oh, stop giving me weird compliments.
It's fine.
I'm just gonna tap a little bit of that bronzer across the forehead. This is just to really balance that color throughout the rest of the face. And then we can take a little bit of that and bring it right along the jawline. But if you want to enhance what you already have, you can go right underneath. This is what I typically like to do. I don't like to change people's face shapes. I think that...
Embrace what you
Exactly.
have. That's what I want.
Yeah, yeah.
Calling me a square? I'm just kidding. I'm trying to see how many dad jokes we can get in here.
This is the dad jokes video. You guys know I'm obsessed with this if you've been watching me already. I'm gonna take the elf.
Elf. Elf.
I don't know where that came from. BH Cosmetics 126 brush, and I'm just gonna take that on the side here. We're gonna pop that right onto tops of her cheekbones here. Now, my biggest thing with highlighter is just bring it all over. Like, don't have just like a white stripe on your cheekbone. You know what I'm saying? Kind of do the back and forth motions. I like to bring it up onto the brow bone. I just don't really want to see where it stops and where it starts. You know what I'm saying? We just want to kind of get that all over, glow from within. Yeah, we woke up this way. No, we didn't put any highlighter on our face. That's just my skin. I love highlighter. I know. Turn your face. See that glow? Yes, look at that glow.
So just going all out.
She does not typically reach for more pinky blushes, but the thing with this one is that this is the NARS Orgasm, and it does have a little bit more of a gold reflect, so it's not going to pull as pink. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that and brush that right onto the apples of the cheeks. You can literally just smile like that, and you can see kind of where you want to put that blush. And then I just bring it back and blend it across the bronzer and the highlight and everything. Now we're going to take the Sephora Pro palette, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom you guys in. Never done being dumb. Ever.
Okay.
Never
Deal.
be done being dumb.
All right. Never. Ever, never.
Every time that we play Never Have I Ever,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like the person that hasn't done anything. I'm like, I raise my hand for nothing.
I'm sure that's not true now. I'm not trying to say you're a bad
Now
person.
that I have a nose ring, I'm just terrible, right? I've just
Hooligans.
gone downhill. Yeah.
It's the red hair. That's what it is.
I got a nose ring and red hair. What can I say? I'm basically Satan now. Alright, so I'm going to take the Sephora Pro palette. I'm going to start with this shade right here. So I'm just going to dust this on the outer corner of your eye. This shade right here. I'm just going to start to warm that up, because what we previously talked about is doing like warm tones to really bring out Hillary's eyes. I really feel like anything that has a nice like red warm undertone really makes the brown eyes pop. I just realized that this whole time I've been like, oh, can you see? Can you see in the mirror? And I'm like, this is literally a video. You can go back and watch it. Like,
I was just thinking the same thing. I
really?
was like,
why didn't you say something?
Because I just thought about it.
Oh. You could honestly stop there, bring a little bit underneath, add a little bit of champagne or even just a matte on the lid. If you want like a little bit of brightness in there. Like sometimes I'll literally just pop a crease shade like this and then throw on lashes and everything else and call it a day. You know what I'm saying? Because this just gives a little bit of definition to the eye. But I'm going to bring it up a little bit so that you can kind of see how to build it up a little bit more. So I'm actually going to take this really nice kind of red brick, and I'm just going to take a tapered crease brush. This is the Pro Tapered Crease from Sephora. Taking a tiny amount of that on the very tip of the brush, and I'm just going to start to deepen the outer portion of the eye. As you can see, I kind of focus it right onto that lash line there. And then whatever's left over on that brush, I'm going to very, very lightly bring to the highest point of the crease, because I want to keep this very open right here. So I'm literally hugging it right underneath that brow bone. And I like to make it like really, really heavy right on this outer corner right here. You may not be able to really feel what I'm doing, and I'm doing it very quickly, but basically what I'm doing is kind of laying my brush down and then doing these little inner flicking motions to kind of bring that across. We're gonna take this guy right here, mainly keeping this on the lash line. I'm just barely using any of this shadow. So I just want to add a bit more depth, but I don't really want to darken everything.
There's a lot of saltiness in the room, but it's just because we love each other so much.
So much we can't handle it. I'm gonna take this one right here, and I'm gonna use my precision smudge brush. I can never say the word precision. I always go precision. And I'm just going to blend this on the lower lash line. So I do like to use kind of... Can you stop, please?
I could have gotten a venti coffee. I'm sorry.
I I'm just kidding. Anyways, and I'm gonna go straight into that darkest shade that we used and just blend this about halfway in, but mainly focusing it on the outer portion there. I'm gonna take the Fenty Galaxy palette and I'm gonna take this gold shade right here, which I believe is called Sunburst. Sounds about right. And I'm just gonna take that on my ring finger because I do find that this palette, the shades in this palette, work best with your fingers. I'm just gonna press that right onto the lid here. So just kind of tapping that, starting on the inner portion of the eye and then blending it. I love this shade on you. Blending it to meet those crease colors. Staying with the Galaxy palette here, I'm gonna take this shade right here, and that is the shade Milky Way. It's the shade Milky Way.
Because it's milky.
Because it's milky. And I'm just taking this on my BH Cosmetics 132 brush, and I'm just gonna pop that right onto the inner corners. I'm gonna bring that down, just kind of hugging this tear duct right here. Whenever it comes to doing the wing on you, since your eyes are similar to mine in the sense that they fold on the outer portions right here, you actually want to draw up and out right over that fold and then bring it back and connect it over the fold. You don't want to close your eyes and you don't want to map it out. Like, even if you were to look down and map it out, it wouldn't be the same as like whenever you bring your head back down and you look straight forward, it'll look wonky. So you want to draw it over the fold, which I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. But for now, just close your eyes. I'm just going to line it by laying my pen on the side. And I'm using the Ciate London Fierce Flicks. So then I like to go in with my Stila Micro Tip eyeliner. And this is where I'm going to have you look just right here for me. You can look right at the camera, whatever you want to do. And I'm just going to go in and start to draw up and out right over that fold. Feel free to blink whenever you need to. Okay, so now we have a basic line there. So I'm just going to have you close your eyes. I'm just going to draw back and connect it. I think for you, we need to bring it down just a little bit more. This is the thing with the folds in the eye. I like to look straight ahead, and this is exactly how my eyes are. And I can see it doesn't really look like it's making a full wing there, you know? And it's because it's not rounding out, doesn't look like it's really connecting with your lower lash line here. So keep looking ahead for me. I'm just gonna stare straight at it and bring it down and in because I want to see that full wing shape. And then, sure, like looking down, it looks very like triangular, but you want to focus on how it looks straight ahead. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we're actually getting that wing effect now.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you like that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We're going to take the Pretty Vulgar Mascara, the Feathers, I guess is what it's called. And we're just going to take that on a disposable wand. And I bend my wands. So I pull it out like this, and then I just bend it right before I pull it completely out, because I feel like that just gives me a better angle. Look straight up for me. I'm just going to brush that right onto the lashes. So go ahead and look straight down for me. Pro tip for any makeup artists out there, have your client look down and just lift up their eyelashes. It just really allows you to get in there. Biggest thing with your mascara always is making sure that you get it all the way to the root of that lash, because that'll give you the most lift. Let's do some lashes. So Hillary picked out these lashes. These are the Ardell Foam Ink lashes in the style 811.
Is your blood coffee?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much.
Cool.
So I'm going to take the Makeup Forever Aqua Lip Lip Pencil in the shade 10C, and I'm just going to line her lips with that. I line the lips and then I bring that color up onto the lips. It'll allow it to have like not a hard line right here. Whenever we apply that lip color on top, it fades into the rest of the lip liner a lot nicer. So then I will just go and define the Cupid's bow by laying the pencil down and bringing it in. So I just literally lay it down from the very top point of that Cupid's bow and bring it in and down. And then I'll go in and kind of bring it down. This is the Kat Von D Studded Kiss lipstick. This is Mercy, and this is actually their old formula. They have a new formula now. And I'm just going to apply that, starting in the center of the lips. All right, my dear, so how are we feeling?
I feel pretty.
Do you feel like I addressed some of your concerns?
Yes. I really like how you told me how to like embrace my square facial structure, which I've been fighting for a long time, I think, and I just didn't know how to quite work with it.
Really?
Yeah, you pretty much helped me figure out how to do everything.
Okay.
And then just the highlight, just
A little bit of
perfect.
glow.
I'm just gonna take you shopping with me. I'm gonna let you see everything I have and be like, you need this, and this.
Maybe we can do that too, and we could vlog it. That'd be fun,
That'd
right?
be fun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Let us know if you guys would be interested in
Yeah.
that. Well, I would just like to say thank you for coming on my channel, because I know that it's not always comfortable, like showing your bare face to the world, to the internet. So I would like to say thank you for coming on my channel and letting other people like hear your concerns. Let us know if this helped you. I have an exciting announcement for next Friday, so make sure that you are subscribed to my channel so you don't miss that. If you really like this video and you want a chance to come onto my channel, then you do not want to miss next Friday's video. So let me know what you think of Hillary's look. Let me know if you like the way that I did it, or maybe what you would have done differently if you did do anything differently. And let me know what you learned. I would love to hear what you learned. Thanks again, Hillary, for coming onto my channel.
Thank you.
You're the best. And I will see you all in Monday's tutorial. Thanks for watching. Bye. Let's just get right into the tutorial. I'm not going to call it a tutorial. Let's get into the transformation.